video is going to go through group decision making, problem solving, and leadership. This can be found in the second chapter in our unit. Working in groups is frustrating. Usually you have to have an end product and create and come up with decisions. So let's dive into decision making. 5 reasons why groups make stupid decisions. 1, no common goal. 2, analysis paralysis. You just continually analyze and criticize everything to the point that you don't move forward. Jumping to solutions. Yes, that's basically the same thing as jumping to conclusions. You're skipping steps in the process. Groupthink, which I'll explain next on our next slide, and topic hopping, when you get off track instead of staying on track. It leads to bad decisions. So groupthink is a big factor in preventing us from making group decisions. Groupthink is where people tend to confirm with group decisions. You agree to, just for the sake of avoiding conflict, feeling left out, and it actually leads to errors in decision making. So let's say that one of you knew the group was going the wrong direction on the assignment, and you don't speak up because you feel like they're not going to listen to you. Maybe you're intimidated, maybe you're scared, maybe think they'll get angry with you, and you don't share that valuable information to get them back on track for fear of those things, ramifications. That's groupthink. So when you are trying to maintain the cohesiveness and you're minimizing conflict and not critically examining the ideas, analyzing the proposals, testing our solutions, that is groupthink. And then it doesn't allow for good decisions to be made because we're too cautious of the cohesiveness and avoiding conflict at all costs, that we are not being thorough in our evaluations, our investigations, and our problem solving. And if that's done to an extreme, that's where it can really hurt the group. As if the person who knows what the project is and the group members aren't following it. And so you just go along with the group, and then the group fails the project because you didn't speak up. You didn't tell them they were on the wrong track. So it's really important. We want to avoid groupthink. So when it comes to making decisions, a lot of times groups like to vote. Well, voting is okay, I suppose. I don't know why groups just love to vote. They think it's the right thing to do. It's a weak decision. If you were at a company and you were working on a new proposal that you present to the board of directors and you say, well, we voted and it was, it was 2-2, it's a 50-50 split, but we're going to suggest that our company does this. That's not a strong decision. They're going to send you back to rework it and come up with a strong decision. And if you have an equal number of people in your group, and you do vote and it's 50-50, then what? You have no place to go. So one of the things we want you to do is work on trying to come to consensus. And consensus is where everyone in the group will sign off on the decision. It might not be your own personal first choice, but maybe it was second choice or third choice on sort of your own preferences. But you're okay with backing that choice. So everyone agrees. That's our goal. That's consensus. That's a strong decision. And that's what I'm asking you to do on the group project you're working on in our class, is to come to a consensus. Our project that we are working on in this class is actually a problem-solving project. It is a discussion. I'm giving you a problem that needs to be solved, and it should follow the steps that you see here, where we normally would identify a problem, analyze, establish and rank criteria, generate solutions, apply and select the best solution, apply criteria to the solutions, and implement and follow up. Now, what you need to know is that this is typically the process you would follow. I have abbreviated our assignment and made it easier for you. So you may not be doing each one of these steps, but it's important to understand how each works so that if you were in the workplace or you were working on a really large assignment that's half a semester in one of your classes, then we really want to make sure you understand all of these steps so you can follow all of them. So I'm going to show you what each one of these steps looks like, how it works. And then in the actual assignment, I tell you which of these you don't really need to do. And so I provide that coaching for you in the actual problem-solving group project. So as I said, this is all about following the steps. This is a structured discussion, not just everybody talk and say what they think, not everybody skipping to solutions and saying which ones you like. This is about your ability to follow directions. How good are you at following directions? Can you follow these steps in order? Don't jump around. It sounds easier than it is because I know what tends to happen in your groups, and you like to solve the problem right away, and that's not how this works. So this is all about following the steps. This is a structured conversation, step by step. So normally we want to identify and define the problem. We want to ask, what exactly is the problem? And why do you think it's important to even discuss the problem? Here's the situation. In a lot of situations, let's say you're at work and your company wants a new plan and they have somebody, they're creating a team, hopefully it's a team, to work on this problem. And you have somebody from accounting and somebody from sales and somebody from customer service and somebody from warehouse and somebody from management. So you have this team of individuals from various departments. Do you think they're all going to see the problem the same way? Probably not. Go back to our chapter on perception. They probably all have a different perspective. So if you don't actually define the problem and make sure everybody sees it the same way, then you could easily be solving 5 different problems. So a lot of groups will skip over this step and just assume everybody knows what the problem is. So it is important to actually talk about it. Oftentimes we would word the problem as a question and not a statement. In our group project, I'm basically giving you what the problem is, so there won't be a lot to do in this particular step. Analyzing the problem, this is where you'd be asking lots of questions. Sort of the who, how, what, when, where, and why of the problem. When did it start? How many people does it affect? That kind of thing. This is where you create this is your planning step. What are all the issues we need to discuss? Not discussing all the issues right now, but just creating the list. What are all the issues we need to deal with? What are all the questions that we need to cover and discuss? What is the budget, for example? What kind of research do you need to do? Make a list of the research. And then you can research in this step as well, right? And so there are lots of things to do analytically in this problem. And this is where a lot of times people get stuck analytically. Okay. Force field analysis is just another way to analyze, and you can check that out in your text. You won't need it for our group project, though. Step 3. Now notice, all we've done was define the problem, come up with a to-do list, determine if we need any research, figure out if we in the workplace if we had a budget to work in. We have not even looked at solutions yet, and we're still not there. No solutions yet. We are not solving yet. Now we're coming up with, in step 3, establishing and rank criteria. What does a good solution look like? If you are at work and your boss says, hey, we need to hire somebody else in your department, create a posting, a job announcement. You create a list of criteria. We need somebody graveyard shift, bilingual, somebody who has a high school diploma, right? You have a list of criteria. And if a candidate doesn't meet that criteria, you wouldn't interview them. So what does a good solution look like? I'm giving you criteria for your speeches, for your assignments, and I'm telling you how I grade it. So what does a good solution look like for your scenario? Okay. And you want to make a list of criteria. When you create criteria, we actually want to divide it up into two different types. We want our absolute essential must-have criteria, and we want our want criteria. All right. So if you were given $5,000 to go buy a vehicle, what kind of things would you look for in the car? Gas mileage? I have to have AC. I need air conditioning. Would you want a stereo system? What is it that you want? You are only going to look at cars with those criteria, right? Then of course there's things that we would love to have. Those would be my want criteria. I love my heated seats, but if I can't get heated seats, I'm okay with that, right? It would be nice to have these extra things. So you're going to take your list of criteria, divide it into the essentials, the must-have, and the wants. And then what you would do is rank them. You want to rank the want criteria. So here's an example of want criteria and how you would rank it. The most important want criteria would have the highest weight. Like sound system is the 3. The look is a 1. So it's more important to have that sound system. You actually can problem solve using strictly the math, which is good if you're ever in a group that's very emotional, very heated, very argumentative. This would be a way to depersonalize that, is just using the math. You don't have to get quite in this detail like you see in this chart, but you do need a list of must-have criteria and want criteria, and at least rank your want criteria, which is most important, second most important, third. Okay, so you'll be doing that with your group project. These are not your solutions. These are what a good solution looks like. It has to be in budget, for example. Okay, right? Your criteria are not the solutions. Now is when you would start brainstorming solutions. Now is the time to actually come up with solutions. That's step 4, not step 1. Normally you might want to do brainstorming. There's different types of brainstorming. The book goes over some of those details. In our specific problem solving project, I'm providing you with the solutions. Once you have your list of potential solutions, now you choose, this is step 5, which is the best solution. How do we know which is the best? We go back to our list of criteria. Which of solution meets our criteria? You'll be asked to actually create a chart to help you measure the solution to the criteria. Your goal is to reach consensus, right? And so focus in on your goal, listen to other people, utilize those roles, ask for clarification, use your I language, be honest in your conversation. If you think we're skipping a step, then use that I language. I think we skipped a step. Maybe we should go back and check, right? So speak up, use your communication skills. You have I language, you have listening skills. Different people have different perspectives. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. They might have a valid point. So let's listen. Let's hear people out. This is the time to practice all of those tools in your tool belt. And that's when you would then determine which one is the best, by which meets the most criteria. In those real world situations, you would need to implement and follow up. I'm asking you to email me your decision, but normally you might have to test something out on a small scale, just like with video games, right? When somebody invents a new video game, it doesn't go to the mass market. It goes to a beta testing group who tests it, verifies, looks for tweaks, that sort of thing, fixes, and then the company fixes those issues before it goes to market. And so the same thing would happen here, is you want to test it out, right? See that it works properly. Make sure everything is put together well. that business scenario, companies often would test something out maybe on a department level or on a single location level before they institute the policy company wide. And so you do have to follow up on that, allowed to check up in 6 weeks to see how it's going, or 6 months. You all determine that. Because sometimes what you think is good doesn't actually work in reality. And so there's nothing to do here in this project except for let me know what you all chose. Now, you will be doing a follow up report individually and grading your group members individually, and that information is actually in your assignment. So that's what you're going to be doing for group problem solving.